All right, guys, let's review some factoring. And we're going to get into a little bit of the tougher factoring a little bit here. Let's get started. So, how would I factor this right here? Well, notice, guys, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. That's not normal. We're used to having only 2 or 3, right? So just remember, when you have 4 terms, the first thing you ought to try is grouping them. So I'm going to group the first 2. I'm going to group the last 2. Include any of the signs in there, by the way, as you'll find out. Now, let's look at our first group right here. 8 and 14, I can divide by 2. X3 and X2, I can also divide by an X2. So this is going to be my greatest common factor, 2x squared. So 4 times 2 is 8. X times X2 is that X3. Again, if you multiply these together, you should get back where you started from. Notice the plus sign there. I know that 7 times this 2x squared is 14x squared. So the first group is factored using GCF. Let's do the same thing with our second group right here. Notice the 12 and 21, I could divide by a positive 3. Guys, if there's a positive right there, by the way, keep the positive sign. And finishing up, I know that 4x times 3 is 12x. I know that 7 times the 3 is 21. And I have that factored. Now, if everything goes as planned, notice how these are the same factors. So we are now going to factor those out. I'm going to have 4x plus 7. And when it's gone here, I'm left with 2x squared. And when 4x plus 7 is gone there, I'm just left with plus 3. Guys, we have it completely factored. That's called factored by grouping, by the way. All right, let's try another one. Notice 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. Let's group them. Notice this one has a minus we're going to take care of. So in our first group, 40 and 35, I hope you agree we could divide by 5. B3 and B2, we're going to divide by B squared, or B2. Let's see what we get. 8 times this 5 is 40. B times a B squared is B3. There's a plus. Keep track of your signs. 7 times 5B squared is 35B squared. It's done. Now let's go to our second group. Because of the minus, guys, we're going to factor out the minus. And 32 and 28 divide by 4. Don't use this 2, guys, when 4 is bigger and better. Let's see what we get. 8b times minus 4 is minus 32b. Plus 7 times minus 4 is minus 28. It's done. Notice how both of them have the same factor, 8b plus 7. So we're going to take out that 8b plus 7 factor. When it's gone here, what am I left with? 5b squared. When it's gone here, what am I left with? Minus 4. So guys, that's how you factor by grouping. All right. To save a little time, we're going to skip this one and go on to this one. Now guys, notice this one has 1, 2, 3 terms. But before we do the X method, let's look at the numbers and everything first. I have a 2, 2, and an even number, 144. Let's first divide by a 2. 2 is my GCF, as we call it. That means I get p squared times 2 is 2p squared. I get p times 2 is 2p. I get a minus 72. Again, I don't know if you have to use your calculator to divide by 2, but minus 72 times the 2 there, sorry, got a little messy, is minus 144. Now that the 2 is done, look how much easier this is to factor. I know I need 1 times negative 72 as a product. I know I need a 1 sum in the middle. So, how about we do 8 or 9 times 8 is 72. Now we need a minus and we also need a 1. So 9 minus 8 is 1. 9 times negative 8 is negative 72. The signs worked out perfectly. So what's my final answer? Don't forget the 2 in front. I have a 2. Then I have my parentheses. The 9 tells me p plus 9. The minus 8 tells me p minus 8. And that's completely factored. Now guys, what did you hopefully learn from this problem? You hopefully learned to always try to do GCF first, because it does make your life a lot easier anyways. You want to get that 2 here out of there, guys, so that the rest becomes easier, bottom line. All right, let's try another one. This one here. Again, I have 1, 2, 3 turns, but also look at the powers. That should give it away. We're going to do a GCF first again. Now, what about the 4, 36, and 32? Hope everyone knows they're 4 times tables. And we're going to do a V2 since the lower power there is V2. This again is my GCF. All right. We know that V2 times 4V2 is 4V4. We have a minus. We know that 9V times 4V2 is 36V3. Finally, we need to do 32. So how about 8 times 4V2 is 32V2. Now that we have the GCF here done, look how much easier the rest is, guys. Let's do our X. 1 times 8 is a positive 8. Watch your signs. Notice we have a minus 9 for a sum in the middle. The only way this is going to work is 1 times 8. Well, of course, it'll give me 8, but I need a negative 9, so I'm going to make them both negative. Let's see if it works. Negative 1 and negative 8 together is negative 9. Negative 1 times negative 8 is still positive 8. So we have it done right. What's our final answer? Don't forget the 4V2 GCF in front. Now we have our parentheses. The negative 1 right here means V minus 1. The negative 8 here means V minus 8. And that's how it's done, guys. Okay, let's try another one that may have a little bit of a surprise in it. This one right here. Let's see what we got here, guys. So, 10, 82, and 72. I don't know about you, but the first thing I'm going to do is do a 2. That means 5x squared times 2 is 10x squared. Minus 41x times 2 is minus 82x. Again, right here, you may have to divide with 2 there in the calculator with that to get the minus 41. Finally, to get negative 72, I need a negative 36. This one's a tougher one. So, how are we going to factor this? Is we're going to have to do the X method, right? And I know 5 times negative 36. Again, use your calculator, guys, but that's negative 180. And I notice I need a sum of negative 41 in the middle. So, how are we going to make this happen? Well, guys, sometimes it helps to be a little bit clever. We already know that 180 is 5 times 36, right? And notice, if I add 5 and 36 together, I do get a 41. Now I need it negative, so I'm going to make them both negative. Uh-oh. A negative times a negative is a positive, and we have a negative. Guess what? It didn't work. So what we're going to do is go to our calculator. So guys, let's go to our calculator. So as you notice right here, I just wanted to verify 5 times 36 is 180. And since it didn't work because the signs didn't work out right, I decided, hey, I'm just going to let the calculator do the work for me. I don't have to think about the actual calculations. Let's try to take 180 and divide by 4. And when I do 180 divided by 4, I get 45. And 45 minus 4 is 41. Now sometimes I have to keep dividing. You know, 180 divided by 3. Maybe that one works. 180 divided by 2. Maybe I go the other way and do 180 divided by 6, right? And I just let the calculator do the calculations for me until I come up with the right combination. But anyways, we got it. We know that this right here is actually 4 times 45. Now we want a negative 45 because 4 minus 45 is negative 41, right? And we know a 4 times a negative 45 gives me the negative 180. The signs work out perfectly. So what is our answer? Don't forget the 2 that we started out with, parentheses. The 4 means x plus 4. The minus 45 means x minus 45. But we need a 10x squared. Sorry, a 5x squared. We took the 2 out of it, right? But right now we only have x times x, which is x squared. So I need a 5 in there. So what was the trick, guys? We divide 1 by 5. We times the other one by 5. So now we get our answer. 2 times 5x plus 4, x minus 9. 45 divided by 5. And that would be the correct answer. So guys, again, to save time, I was going to do one more, but this video is getting too long. So let's go right to the answer key. We just did, which number did we just do? Sorry guys, 13. So here's the answer key, guys. And like I'm demonstrating here, I'm going to look at each answer that I do, not just copy it down, to make sure I did it correctly, which I did. Okay? So I did do 13 right. And that's what I need you to do. I'm going to post again this video with the worksheet. I want you to try your best to go through and struggle. It's okay to struggle. Struggling means you're learning as long as you don't give up. Okay? Get through this worksheet the best you can. And if you just take a picture of your work and send it back to me, I'm going to give you credit for it. It's really that simple. Okay, guys? So again, I hope you're getting something out of this video. Among other things, I'll see you around.